Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Inside Indian Athletics. Tonight, we're joined by our football offensive and defensive coordinators, Troy Medvick and Jason McGovern. But before we get into that, let's take a look at last week's Indians highlights. The girls last week wrapped up their season, the regular season, 2 road wins over Civic Memorial and Highland, finishing their season with a record of 25-10, 9-1 in conference, and 22nd in the state of Illinois, according to Max Preps. Boys soccer fell in the regional championship on Saturday, finishing their season 13-9-2. Cross country ran in regionals last Saturday with several top 20 finishes and several state qualifiers, among them Lucas Jensen, Chris White, and Henry Kaler. For the girls, Chloe Millett, Adam Jackson, and Absidy Klimico. Football last week had a 47-28 win at Carbondale. That was their 6th win. They will play on Saturday in their first round of playoffs against Bloomington. When we come back on Inside Indian Athletics, we'll be joined by Indians offensive coordinator Jason McGovern.
When it's time to ball. We back in the field. We ready, it's time. It's nothing but hustle inside of the huddle. You know that I grind. A dangerous mind, a weapon of choice when pushing the line. Go overtime and I won't break when it's crunch time. My end game is number 1. Bet it all, give me my cash. Supreme game, can't stop it. Take off like a rocket. Break it back, don't bend mine. I'm the one now, you can't hide. Legendary like legacy. This is our moment, our time. This is our moment. This is our time. Time is now. It's time to rise. This is our moment. This is our time. The time is now. It's time to rise.
All right, we're joined on Inside Indian Athletics by Indian offensive coordinator Jason McGovern. Coach McGovern, I don't know this. I'm just going to ask, how'd you come to Muscuda? How'd you end up here?
Well, I was leaving a previous job. I taught at the alternative school over at Belleville East, where I previously coached at Belleville West and at Belleville East, but then decided to take a job at Grant Middle School in Fairview Heights, which obviously that middle school doesn't have a football team. So I was planning on just going there, and I was going to help out with track. And as I was actually cleaning out my classroom, got a random phone call from Coach Josh Lee, who had just been hired as the head coach and was looking for some assistants, and asked if I was interested in becoming an assistant coach. And we ended up meeting, talking ball for a little bit, and then he ended up hiring me as a freshman coach initially. And then by the time the season started, I was the wide receiver and DB coach.
All right, I know you taught at the middle school before you came to the high school. Were you already coaching there? When did you start coaching?
Yeah, so I started coaching here in 2016. Like I said, when I got to Grant Middle School, was teaching there for 2 years and coaching here, and then it was in 2018 when Coach Lee promoted me to offensive coordinator that there was an opening at the middle school, and I thought, hey, if I'm going to take this job as a coordinator, I'd like to be in town and be in district, and so took a shot at taking that job, and lucky enough got it, and I was there for 4 years before I was able to move down the street to be able to come here to the high school.
All right, has being at the high school, has that made your job here a little easier as the coach, seeing your players every day?
Yes, being able to check the kids on their grades, behavior, seeing them in the hallways, certainly the recruiting aspect, being able to try to talk to those basketball kids that are strictly basketball kids, like, hey, why don't you come try out football in the summer? I think that helps a lot. I know Coach Hilgendorf definitely appreciates me being here at the high school so that I'm not running so late to practice all the time. I'm sure there's plenty of speeding tickets I could have got on Hartnett coming from the middle school to the high school trying to get to practice on time. So that's definitely made it a whole lot easier.
All right, let's talk a little bit about actual football now. You guys, the last couple of years, your running game has been the highlight of the offense. How does that help? How does that affect your job as the offensive coordinator planning out your weeks?
Which I think is always kind of funny because my actual position coach, or the actual position that I coach is wide receiver, so you would think we'd be trying to sling it all over the place. But yeah, I mean, we're always going to run the ball first. We like to say that we major in gap schemes and we minor in zone. If anybody pulls up tape of us or defensive coordinators are trying to figure out how they're going to stop us, they're going to know they got to stop power and counter first. And I just always think it makes throwing the ball a whole lot easier. We're going to run the ball to be able to throw the ball. And I think if you can run the ball, you're going to win most games.
All right, you guys are good coaching staff. You seem to be tight-knit, at least what I can see. How do you guys work together every week to put that best product on the field?
Well, it does help. I mean, most of our assistant coaches are some of my best friends. But the process, at least for the offensive staff, well, for me being a math teacher, usually I'm lesson planning from like 7 a.m. till about 10 a.m. And then I'll try to get through all the games before about 1 or 2, and then I'll come and meet the offensive staff here with Coach Hilgendorf about 1 or 2. Everybody kind of brings ideas to the table. I certainly can't take a whole bunch of credit for the offense. It is a team kind of collective ideas when we're putting stuff together. I'm just kind of the organizer of things, and I'm the guy that's actually calling the plays on Friday night. So once we get kind of everything compiled in the office on 1 or 2 p.m., and I'll head back home. I kind of organize it all into a doc, create the installs, that sort of thing, so that we can present it to the kids on Monday, and then we post it on Google Classroom.
All right, you guys beat Carbondale last week at a big win. You knew you were in the playoffs already. What does that mean to be back in the playoffs after a couple years of being out?
Well, I mean, it's the standard here. And I think, Coach Hogendorf would agree that, it's our standard and our expectation that we're in the playoffs every single year, and unfortunately we haven't met that expectation the last 2 years. So to get back to where we know we should be feels good, and I think it's getting the kids believing in what we're doing again, and I'm really excited to see kind of where we're going to be at. I do think Bloomington is a beatable team, and if we come and we attack the same way that we did against Carbondale, I mean, there's a good chance that we'll be hosting a round 2 game.
All right, I'm going to leave you with this. You've been coaching here for a while, almost 10 years. What's your favorite memory here at Muscuda?
Man, that is tough. Beating Triad in the COVID year for the trophy is up there. Beating Juliet Catholic in the quarterfinals is up there, but if I got to pick one that was the sweetest, it was definitely beating Highland in the second round after they had beat us just 3 weeks prior to that by nearly 50 points. Being able to come back and beat them in the second round and send those seniors home was a pretty sweet feeling.
All right, Coach, thanks so much for your time here tonight. When we come back, we'll be joined by defensive coordinator Troy Medvick.
Warrior Logo Wear doesn't just print gear. Since 2018, we've been helping organizations build identity, unity, and pride through high-quality branded merchandise and streamlined fulfillment solutions. Want to simplify your branded merchandise and look great doing it? Just contact us at info@warriorlogowear.com or call our number at 618-566-6864. You can also visit our location at 12 East Main Street, Muscuda, Illinois, 62258.
Back on Inside Indian Athletics, we're joined by defensive coordinator Troy Medvick. So one thing I know you coached basketball at one time here. Were you coaching football at the same time, basketball, then football? How did that work?
Yeah, so basketball was the easy transition. I played basketball in college. When I got done with that, Scott Oldman was my coach in high school, still coaching at the time, kind of brought me in to coach basketball. God, I don't know, I'm old. It was a long time, several years, but I don't know, 5 years into that, Coach Battis reached out and asked me to help out with football, and I got into that. I took a job at Mount Vernon, and that's when football really, they kind of wanted me to be the defensive line coach there, and basketball, I was too far away to do both, so I kind of gave it up then.
All right, how did you fall in love with the game of football?
I think just coaching, coming back to coach, I realized it was great learning a lot of stuff about coaching positions that I don't think I knew as a player. Learning from other coaches and other people, I just really got into it. And let's be honest, I think a little bit of it was when I came back to Muscuda and Coach Lee was hired, and there was a long time where it was just me and him and trying to figure things out, and he asked me to be the defensive coordinator, and the workload that comes with that was just too much to keep doing other stuff.
All right. Let's talk about this season specifically. You guys have your defense has been really good this year. Coming into last week, you were averaging just 20 points a game allowed. Take that down to 12 when you play in the conference. What's that mentality been as a defensive coordinator, calling those defensive plays and having that effective defense?
Yeah, I think early in the year we've got a young group this year, so there were a lot of guys just getting used to positions and playing, and we had week 1 and 2, two big, good athletic opponents that, just took some time for us to get there. We had some discussions after those 2 losses and really talked about needing to pick up our aggressiveness, put some practice plans together that would force that a little bit more, and they really just took off from there.
All right. I asked this to Coach McGovern. I'm going to ask it to you. What does it mean to you to be back in the postseason?
For football, everything. It's one of the unique things about the sport that not everybody gets to make the playoffs. I was talking to Jordan Beck after the win Friday night, and just the story was kind of being talked about how, he's a senior and he's a very good player for us, and he talks about the last 2 years not getting a chance to be in the playoffs and just how excited watching his older brothers do it, and now he gets the chance. So it's one of those where there's a lot of kids good football players that never get an opportunity to play. So just making it here is a huge deal. We kind of left practice today reminding them, hey, a lot of other teams in the state are turning in their equipment today, so it's a blessing to be here, and we're going to take every opportunity we have to see what we can do with it.
All right, so what are you doing to get ready for that first game against Bloomington this week?
I think same as every week. You break down what they like to do, what they're good at, kind of put together the things that we like. Obviously, we like to pressure when we can. A little bit of hesitation, maybe we don't want to get too crazy and too much pressure and open up, big holes somewhere else, but we want to find ways that we feel like we can pressure them the most, match up with them the best. An extra day of practice never hurts, so we're going to take full advantage of that this week.
All right, so teacher, coach, I know I've known a lot of people that have had to do that. How does that balance out?
I think it gets easier the older you get.
Okay.
I think a younger coach, you're trying to learn the classroom and everything you have to do in and out, and as long as I've been doing it, you kind of have routines. Obviously, there's a lot less I'm able to devote towards extra work in the classroom. We're good and ready to go, but some extra preparations and other things, really, I can take care of those in the spring and other times, and it's a balancing act. I think the older and the longer you do it, you just find ways of, getting each job done to the best of your ability.
All right, we'll leave you here with this favorite football memory here at the high school.
I think wins, I'd probably say similar to what Coach McGovern said, which is Joliet was a huge one, and winning the quarterfinals, taking us to semis, that was huge. But I think 3 years ago, Peoria, when we woke up and there was 7 inches of snow on the ground, I think if you're from the school like I am, you look out here and you saw the community that showed up to clean that field off. And when we showed up for game time, you would have never known it snowed. And so just the way this community rallies around and supports us was probably one of my favorite moments.
All right. Coach, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, Owen.
And when we come back, we'll close things down on Inside Indian Athletics.
Top of the scope, smooth, 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 smooth. I'm ready for smooth, 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 smooth. I'm ready for.
All right, let's wrap it up here on Inside Indian Athletics. Just a quick going into this week, we've got volleyball regionals. That begins tomorrow night. They will take on East St. Louis in Waterloo tomorrow. You can catch that game right here on the Indian Sports Network. And then they will play for the regional final if they win on Thursday. And then Saturday, it is the big game, 6 o'clock up in Bloomington. Muscuda, Bloomington, 6 o'clock. That game can also be found right here on the Indian Sports Network. And that is going to do it for us tonight on the Indian Sports Network. Big thanks to coaches McGovern and Medvick, and a big thanks to Avery Beer behind the camera tonight. My name is Owen Jester. Thanks for joining us. We will see you tomorrow for regional volleyball.